Ranting, reflecting, reasoning, reckoning. The Huddle.
It is 21 to 6 on the Huddle this evening. Cameron Slater from whaleoil.co.nz. Hello, Cameron.
Hey, Larry.
And we've got Pam Corkery is back with us. G'day, Pam.
Hello.
Pam, I'm going to come to you first tonight.
I don't know if you should.
The Pam and Cam show.
The Pam and Cam show.
Well, you know, we're in the... we're the front runner to the worst scene, that is the John Key and this government show, but go ahead.
All right.
Give me your best shot.
That's a surprise coming from you, Pam.
Yes, it is.
Opposition to the government's plan to offer free contraception to young women on benefits. It's been labelled an insult, discrimination against vulnerable. It's all outrageous. What do you say about all of this?
Well, I endorse that. I look at John Key's statement here. This is from a man in the country that gave women the vote first. He says of this long-term contraception, John Key says, the advantage, as I understand it, is that it's highly effective and really doesn't require too much thought. You're on that program and it lasts for 3 years. The day John Key passes a bowling ball out his bum, I will listen to him for sex advice. This is absolutely woeful and sinful. It has nothing to do with what New Zealanders stand for.
Oh, really? Okay, what do you say on this, Cameron?
I reckon Pam and Sue Bradford are completely missing the boat here. If you have a look at the comments on various different sites, they're running like 90% in favour of what John Key's saying. As usual, you know, forgive the pun here, but Sue Bradford's copping a real spanking on this issue. I mean, they're basically making out that this is a hysterectomy when it's only, in fact, free long-term contraception. It's just a massive beat-up and it's pathetic.
Do you want, for example, either of you, your 16-year-olds given sexual instruction from a WINS worker? What of the responsibility on boys? This statement says it's all a girl's responsibility. We have proven Darwin wrong in the terms of evolution with this statement today. Totalitarian states try to control.
I don't think the WINS person writes out the chit for the the medical thing. The doctor does.
Hold on. Why wouldn't they? John Key is saying how easy contraception is. He's a man who's never been on a long-term contraceptive pill. How on earth, or device, why wouldn't we have WINS people do it? This is a government and a Prime Minister who says, I don't care about ethics.
All right, I don't think they're allowed to write prescriptions anyway. Cam, what do you say?
Yeah, well, you know, the bottom line is that 16-year-olds are being told about all sorts of sexual practices at school, and Pam doesn't have a problem with that, but all of a sudden someone at the WINS office is saying, look, you've popped out 3 sprogs already, wouldn't it be better to go on some long-term contraceptive to alleviate your impending poverty that's going to come from having all those children?
Why don't we, instead of your vulgar popped-out 3 sprogs, give young people a country where there's a job, fairness, egalitarianism, truth-telling and opportunity? For God's sake, this is just appalling.
It is truth-telling, calling them losers because they've gone and got themselves up the wop 3 times.
Did they do it themselves? There is absolutely no responsibility sheeted home to boys here.
Well, how come we have to pay for it, Pam? See, the personal responsibility doesn't end when they get it pregnant. It starts when we have to start paying for it, and so it's fair enough that the government now says, no, we're not. We're going to stop paying for all of these babies. If you want to have sex, get pregnant, pay for it yourself. If you can't afford contraception, you shouldn't be having a root.
This is a government that hasn't even got the prunes to say that people over 20 can't have a drink and drive. You know, They can't come down hard against their brewery mates, and they are talking to people who really shouldn't be having sex lives at all, that we should get back to a country with some morality and some leadership at the top.
Hold on. All right. No, I need to ask a couple of questions here, Pam. Well, hold on. What stinks about a policy where there is no compulsion? There is you have choice. You don't have to take the contraception.
That's right.
That's your choice. And if cost is a factor, like family planning just told me, if cost is a factor, that's just been eliminated. That's good, isn't it, Pam?
It's talking. The two of you talking about this is like two cripples talking about World Cup soccer. You have no idea of the area you're in. When you talk of no compulsion, if it were either of your daughters getting sex advice from a WINS bureaucrat, you would be going through the roof.
No, my daughters would be getting sex advice from me as a responsible parent. And that's where some of the problem comes in, Pam, is there's a whole bunch of deadbeat dads out there that are knocking up birds all over the place, and there's no responsibility to being sheeted home from
in the world of stereotypes, that may happen. I tell you what, the best parents in the world, their girls get pregnant, but there still has to be, there's no state intervention in this area. That what about Catholics? What about certain religions where they don't observe contraceptive pills? This government has just tromped across all sorts of cultures.
All right, we'll come back in just a moment. Pam Corkery and Cameron Slater on the Huddle. It's now 16 to 6.
And News Talk ZB.
It is now 14 to 6 back with the Huddle. Cameron Slater and Pam Corkery with us. Issue number 2, Cameron, to you first. A proposed 15-story super brothel in central Auckland. There have been a lot of submissions on this. This is the Chow Brothers brothel. Would lead to an explosion of sexually transmitted diseases, child sex slavery, moral bankruptcy, drug warfare, and a curse on everyone in New Zealand, according to submissions to the Auckland Council. How do you see it?
Are they thinking that all of these people are out there not having sex currently? I mean, at least they'll be all in one place. It's a little bit the same argument for having all the pokies in one place, isn't it? At least you know where it's all happening. But I'd be questioning whether or not the Chow Brothers can find 15 stories of prostitutes to house.
That's another thing. What do you say, Pam?
Well, of course they can. Some of the largest brothels in Auckland have a turnover of about 19 million a year. They are flat out at morning tea, of men going and having morning tea sex on the half-hour rate. I don't know if it will lead... So, I mean, don't pretend you don't know where it happens. Isn't it said that 70% of New Zealand men have at least been inside a brothel at some time?
I've been inside a couple of brothels and nothing
well, I'm just saying, don't pretend. At least we know where it all is.
But if there's so much money, Pam, how come your one didn't get off the ground?
Because I chose not to go ahead with it, actually, Cameron, and I remember you making a rather unfactual statement in your blog, and I just didn't care enough about your opinion. I chose not to go ahead with it because I didn't want the purveying of flesh being in my footprints in the sand of life, for that matter.
All right, look.
But in terms of an explosion of sexually transmitted diseases, that's crazy, because that's the one thing they do look after. Child sex slavery, I doubt
that's
it.
Rubbish. Exactly.
Moral bankruptcy, well...
We're already bankrupt.
Is it the issue here, though?
What's the difference now in this country? Drug warfare, yes. Now, drugs will always be attracted to brothels.
And gangs.
And that is they're set up by large money and then arguably policed by gangs. A curse on everyone in New Zealand, that could be lapsing.
And Pam, it'll be quite good if they get the convention centre there, because they won't have far to go, will they?
No,
right.
But anyway...
Put a walkway between the two.
Isn't the issue, though, whether you want something like this, a designated red light district, whatever they have overseas, or urban spread, isn't that the issue here?
Well, what's wrong with that? I mean, you go to Amsterdam...
That's what I'm asking,
yeah. A tourist trap. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
I think it's not a dreadful idea. I mean, these are public submissions. They're fun. You'd probably get that same letter if someone was putting a cell phone tower on a kindy. I think there are complainers who just, have the same complaint letter that
Serial
comes flying
ninjas,
out.
yeah.
All right. Thank you both. Very interesting and entertaining. Thank you, Pam. Pam Corkery and Cameron Slater. News Talk ZB. It's now 10 to 6.